Hey everybody, welcome to something a bit different. I recorded what you're seeing as a test to see how it looks, to see if I needed to change some settings, because, spoilers, I'm probably going to be making some Street Fighter 6 videos. And if you know me, I don't like to waste good B-roll, so today is my quick review of Street Fighter 6, since I just finished World Tour, the story mode for that game. I might do this for the future with games that I play off screen, especially if they're going to be in the end of year, game of the year video. I don't play many games off screen. That time is reserved for Battle Pass grinding. Though these reviews might not be a consistent thing. Don't expect it to be. That being said, I think it speaks volumes that I chose to play Street Fighter 6 over games like Fortnite, Dead by Daylight, and Paladins. And quite frankly, games I should have been recording instead of labbing. Oopies. TLDR, this game is fantastic. But let's start from the beginning. I made a tweet when this game first came out, or like a couple days after it, about me picking it up as a non-Street Fighter gamer. It was some like non-sequential thing about like how I wished modern control was not as simple as it was. Like, instead of the 6-button control scheme, I wish it was a 3-button control scheme. 3-button control scheme for light, medium, heavy, but you still had to do the inputs instead of like, I just press one button and super comes out. I wish it was a little not as simple, I guess. But to clarify, I've played a few Street Fighter games before, including Street Fighter V, but it was just mostly the story mode, so I kind of know the story up until now. I've just never taken the time to actually play the games and actually get better at it. So this is technically my first Street Fighter. Technically. I guess we'll say it's the first Street Fighter that I've actually given my time to, because it is enjoyable. The game looks amazing, plays amazing. Hey, welcome to 2023, where those shouldn't be things we celebrate, but in 2023 where the game that launched not broken was an indie title from the Game Grumps. Oops, that's something to say about AAA gaming. So this game looking amazing and playing amazing shouldn't be an accolade, but it is. But I also expected nothing less from the RE engine. I've been saying for a long time, I think the Resident Evil engine should be used in every game because it is pretty to look at. And guess what? It plays great. The gameplay of Street Fighter 6 is great and is actually pretty simple to understand from a beginner/Street Fighter virgin standpoint. It does take time to get some of the timings down, I will admit, but the training room tools are incredibly helpful, and I hope every fighting game from here on out steals the frame data and color-coded cancel settings. Those are just some of the best settings in any fighting game. Like the visual frame data, that nice little color-coded bar of telling you, hey, this is the active frames, this is the startup frames, and this is your advantage or disadvantage on hit or block. And the color-coded settings of like, hey, if your body turns red, you can cancel into pretty much anything. If it turns blue, you can cancel into some stuff. Fantastic settings. Fantastic settings. The character guides are actually really good, unlike other fighting games. MK11, Cough. Street Fighter 6's guides not only tells you what the move is, but also how to use it best. I've never seen a game tell you like, hey, this jump attack is great to get in, but if you're just using it from movement, aim for the toes. That's a legit tip from one of Cammy's guides. I never thought a game would tell me like, hey, if you're just using it as a movement technique, aim for the toes. You can also cancel it if you think your opponent's going to Dragon Punch. But when does a fighting game give you that much information? I don't think ever. It's incredible. And that's not even mentioning the fundamental and advanced sections that each character gets. Well, Geef only got like fundamentals, didn't get advanced because he's Geef. Those tell you what the character's best normals are and what their best pokes are, and it's incredible. It's a great resource for trying to learn any character in the game. I feel like I just pick up a character that I have no interest in and be like, oh, this is how they work, and play them at some sort of level, but still understand what I'm doing. Combo trials are just whatever, since this game is largely about neutral and footsies. But even then, it gives you some interesting ideas, even if it's something as simple as doing a jumping heavy attack before a bread and butter combo, just as a way to get in with Marissa. I would have never thought of that for one of her bread and butters. Like, oh, just jump heavy kick. If they counter you, okay, well, drive cancel in, or do it again. You're Marissa, you're gonna do 3,000 damage on 2 hits anyway. Just do it, you're a juggernaut. It's just incredible how the game teaches you what to do. It's not hand-holding, but it's close enough, right? I guess now we just move on to World Tour mode. The mode I've spent by far the most time in because it's pretty great. It's pretty great. I tweeted out like, yeah, it was so close to perfect until it just yeeted the bag off the side of Mount Vashal's cliffs. So it's not perfect, but it's almost there. The story is pretty good, I think. I enjoyed the story for what it was. The plot twist of who the Cardboard Warrior is, pretty obvious if you're kind of just paying attention a little bit, and you like actually read what characters are telling you. But I dig it. I dig it a lot. Yeah, it's tropey and can get like, okay, bogged down in some stuff. Like meeting Kimberly, going through that entire like instruction zone. I was like, why am I here again? Why do I need a lab coat and a security badge? Why do I need this? I don't even remember. That's like halfway through the story. I don't remember. It's like, oh, hey, here's Kimberly and you can get her as a master. Like, okay, cool. I dig her second outfit more than her default attire. So, okay, that's cool. Metro City and Old Nashal are a perfect juxtaposition. Seeing nothing but a metropolis for the first half of the game, and then suddenly we're able to go to a country that has been torn apart by inner turmoil and conflict, and that is actively being exploited by global businesses. Boy, that's real world, isn't it? It's a good contrast for a video game and gives the story a new life, I think. It goes from, oh, what is strength? Find your strength, and Luke doing his Luke stuff, he's a pretty good character, I dig his character. But just like, hey, go around, punch people in the street and find out what strength is. To, alright, you found out what strength is, kinda. But now how do you use that strength when you find it? I dig it. I dig it. It's got a little bit of heart. Listen, I wasn't expecting a NetherRealm story here, right? I wasn't expecting like, holy, it blew my balls off. What I got, I liked, right? And it's a fun mode. I spent 30 hours in the goddamn mode, okay? Let's pull the wool back here. I spent 30 hours in the game mode wandering around going, this is neat, I like this. So, there. JP? Our main villain? Question mark? A little bit into the game, like a couple hours in the game, like Jury shows up. It's like, oh, Neo Shadaloo, I believe is what it's called, is the thing still, even though, spoilers, M. Bison is dead. The big bad of Shadaloo is finally in the ground. She is still operating, and she does her thing. It's like, is she the main villain now? No, JP is like talked about several times, like he's like the leader of the things, he's a businessman. I think he's great for the future. I hope he returns in future games. His boss fights balls hard, holy crap, but he's a final boss as hell. But I think he's great for the future. He's an evil businessman with psycho power and a stand. What? He's completely different than M. Bison was, where M. Bison was just like, I'm strong, which means I take over the world. JP is not that. He's a bit smarter with it. Like if you go through his mastery stuff, he like talks to you and he tells you things. He goes into like, I was the accountant for Shadaloo. I was the smartest one in the building that wasn't a scientist. But I wanted to see the world through Bison's eyes, so I got psycho powers. And to stand, because stand arrow or something. Yeah, he doesn't show up until 95% of the way through the game. That's just how he is, like, You have to get to the very last area of the game, and then he shows up in person. But the little he is actually in, he presents himself as a manipulative asshole to the best ways. I'll show you to the cutscene before the boss fight, or his boss fight at the end. I'm not gonna show it because spoilers, and I'm not gonna spoil the game. But yeah, he's a big old dickhead in the best way. I think I think he's neat. I dig him. I dig him as a villain. It does feel like Ken should have been the main character of the story, with his whole backstory of I was helping relief efforts in Old Nishal, and then a terrorist bomb went off, and for some reason he got blamed for it. I don't think he really goes into why he got blamed for it, but like, he got blamed for it, and then he got found by a security guy, and he beat the shit out of him, and he got detained, and now he's on the run from every global conglomerate security effort force because he's like a domestic terrorist or some shit. But it's like heavily implied that the guy who ordered the bomb was JP, so it's like Ken should have been the main character. Hell, I even think if you go to you hover over arcade mode in that the fighting grounds area, it's literally Ken versus JP. I haven't played his arcade mode yet, but I'm willing to bet he's got some story with JP because it really hints towards it. We just talked about masters and all that stuff. Backstory for every master, old and new. Great. It's great. I love the little stories they tell, right? E Honda's very comical about bathhouses and wanting to bring peace to the world with sumo. Zangief talks about like you gotta build muscle, but you also gotta work your brain. You gotta read books to become smarter, as well as beefier. And Marissa's is somehow about love? That was the biggest plot twist. I'm like, Big Punch Mom, what do you want? Oh, fight these two dudes and pick the one you think should marry me. And then you pick one. And then she's like, oh, that's your pick? Okay, well, you wanna know my pick? It's both of them. Hey, you wanna be in it too? We'll all be married together. Because that's what her Nona wants. I'm like, oh my god, she's suddenly got a love story here. That's weird. And then in Manon's, there's a point where you can ask her out? It's weird. Some of these stories for the new characters are amazing. And it's like, okay, this is cool. Jamie talks about his dad was a fucking lowlife and like ditched him at a young age, and his mom was like not home, or he was a rascal, and his mom sent him to live with his grandma, and she taught him the ways of kung fu, and totally green tea, guys, and not alcohol. Wink. It's totally booze. He's boozing it up with some. He's like drinking Four Locos, man. He's drinking Four Locos or that new Monster beer that they fucking came out with. I like, and then you get like some of the somber stories of like Guile, who starts out talking like, yeah, me and my wife Chris, and I like country, but she likes this artist DJ, who the fuck that is. Like, he hasn't met DJ at all in any timeline. And then it goes into like, yeah, my partner died due to M. Bison and Shadaloo, and I dedicated the rest of my time to the demise of Shadaloo and getting revenge, to the point where it frayed my relationship with my son and my wife. I wish I spent more time with them and kept that relationship as strong as it was, and I wish I could tell my step bro or my brother-in-law Ken the same. And I'm like, wait, hold on, there's too much to digest. Guile and Ken are technically related via marriage. What? Hold on. And then like, there's some heartfelt moments in these character dialogues. I think that's why I have so many hours in the game, just like farming Zenny and buying things for them and getting their stories. It's weirdly touching for a lot of them, and like, that's why I started kind of just messing around with Dalsim. Like, his story was like, you know, he's a pretty chill dude, I like him. I dig it. I dig his character. I dig their characters a lot. And what's great is, before the game, like, I picked up the game, because I picked up the game initially because Maximilian Dude was doing his Twitch tournament. I was like, this game looks really cool. It looks really fun. I had interest in it. I was following it for a while. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick it up. It looks pretty cool, and I'm glad I did. But I saw people saying, like, oh man, it takes like 100 hours or dozens of hours to max out your bond with one person. I'm like, that's a drag. That ain't the grind that I will be talking about in World Tour. That's not grindy at all. You do the Scrap Heap game. If you do Scrap Heap 3 and you beat it in like 20-ish seconds, which isn't hard, you get about 12,000 zenny, and it only takes 90-something zenny to buy 20 of their preferred thing. It takes you maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes at most. It's very easy to do. The grind that is atrocious in this game is the scaling. The scaling is a nightmare in World Tour. Holy nutballs. Like, the difficulty ramps up super hard because the enemies outweigh you by 10 levels at points. The one mission where you have to track down Bow Bow Bro nearly stopped me from playing the game altogether because I was like level 20 and he was level 30, and I'm like, this dude has 3 times my health bar and hits me for about 1 billion damage. I have to stop and I have to go grind for 5 hours to get to level 35 just to compete with him. To the point where the footage you're seeing is the last tournament in the game before the last boss fight. You'll notice my level is 46, theirs is like 54, 55, 56. JP's level at the end, the final boss, spoilers, his is like 60 or 58, 60, something like that. I'm massively under-leveled. It's crazy how the scaling sucks in this game. And that's, we'll talk about the tourneys. The 5-match tourneys suck. They are hard stops. They're where I had to grind the most. Especially the last one of the game, the one you're watching. That is a sin against God and Guile alike. Holy crap, it is abysmal to go through. I spent like an hour farming Zenny and buying energy drinks just to blow it on the final tournament. So like, this is the end of the game. This has to be the end of the game. I gotta do it just to get blown out by JP at the end because I had no more healing because the second to last boss fight of the game is such a pain in the ass. Which I found out later. Hey, you can die to him. You still get to the final boss fight. What world does that make sense that you can lose the last match of the big bad tournament of the game and still get to the final boss fight? Huh? That makes no sense. Last thing I'll mention about World Tour, something that also doesn't make sense, but I think will get rectified next year, in year 2. With all they do and how integral they are to the World Tour's main scheme of things, why aren't Li Fang and Bosch playable characters at launch? Like, I get Bosch, he's kind of a nothing character. Wink. If you know, you know. But Li Fang helps a lot. She helps a lot in the game. And she's like training under Chun-Li, and she seems like she's gonna be a playable character, but no. I think it would have been cool if we got Lily, who is supposed to be trained by T-Hawk, as well as Li Fang, who is trained by Chun-Li. I think that would have been cool as like kind of this game's combat kids. Woof. But yeah, I expect them as DLC in year 2 or 3, definitely. And I understand why they're not at launch, but it kind of just would have made sense if they were at launch. Like, it's different if like they were like, oh, Rudra, who is like a mini boss towards the end of the game, if he was added, doesn't make sense because he's just got Dhalsim's moveset like to a T. But I guess Li Fang would also have Chun-Li's moveset, so it's like they'd have to come up with a new moveset for her, but I don't know. It's just like, They had a ton of new characters in the game. Like, what, 5 or 6 new characters? As well as the old cast, which they got a large pool to choose from. It's like, if Tekken, Street Fighter, and MK wanted to continue for the next 5 years, they could easily do that with DLC every year. 4 new playable characters every year. People would be like playing these games for a decade. Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, MK 1/12. You got 30 years, 25, 30 years of back characters, back catalog of characters. Every year, just here's 4 or 5 new characters that's added to the game. Boom, there it is. You can support Mortal Kombat 1 for the next decade, NetherRealm, and still have new characters coming out. These games could last forever. But that will do it. My voice is going, if you couldn't tell. Short number review for Street Fighter 6. I give it a Sonic Boom out of Hadouken. I think that's a valid score. It's got its problems, but overall, it's fantastic. So, I don't know when videos will start. I kind of want to drop a video on 4th of July of me playing Guile, just because he's American. I saluted. If you can't see it, but I'm just telling you, I saluted when I said American. It was a bit. It was a whole it was a whole dramatic thing. But he's by far not my main. I haven't even looked at any of his things. I main Manon and Marissa because I like the brawler character, and I like grapplers, and Manon is a grappler, and Marissa's a fucking tank. So those are the ones I gravitate towards, and I gravitated towards Dulcim, who is not the greatest character, so there's my range of meta that I'm picking to play. Somebody who seems like she's in the meta super hard in Manon, a solid A-tier character in Marissa, and then bottom-tier Dulcim. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm really not stuck on who I want to main at this point. I just gravitated towards Manon because they were like, she's a grappler. I'm like, I like grapplers. I think they're fun. And she doesn't have the weird-ass 720 stick twirl that Geef has. Who the hell thought that was a good idea? I play on fucking pad. I play on a normal-ass Xbox controller. I can't do that shit. I'm never hitting his level 3. I love Geef. I love the way he plays. I can do the normal 360 spin pile driver without missing a beat. That's 720 though, man. Woof. Woof. But this game is fun, man. This game is fun. Highly recommend it. But for now, I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Street Fighter 6 from the gameplay, World Tour. Did you like World Tour? What did you not like about it? Do you agree with anything I said about it? Let me know. Let me know in the basement below. But for now, I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, super kick that like button, check my channel for more videos I've done. If you want to see, hit subscribe, and until next time, goodbye.